Elia presents Talking, and today we're here to talk High School Musical with my friend Justine Rafael. She's a singer-dancer, currently a student at UCI majoring in musical theater. She's a musical Disney Holland enthusiast.
Yes.
How you doing, Justine?
Good. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It was fun reviewing the High School Musical franchise to do this. So I want to briefly, I don't know how brief it's going to be, go through the three movies just so everyone can reflect because it's been a long time. So here we go. High School Musical 1 starts with Troy and Gabriella meeting on vacation while karaokeing a duet on New Year's Eve. Though they both allegedly love to sing, they don't do so in public. This was the start of something new. Gabriella moves to Troy's school in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Chad's Troy's best friend notices that Troy is distracted and tells him to get his head in the game. Troy checks to see if Gabriella is going to audition for the school's winter musical, and they end up auditioning together to receive callbacks to audition for the leading roles. Sharpay, the school's drama club leader with her brother Ryan, does not like outsiders trying to take over. Chad and everyone else does not like Troy diverting his attention away from basketball. Gabriella's friends also does not like her attention away from the scholastic decathlon. They want everyone to stick to the status quo. Their friends do some awful things and get Troy to say some really mean things for Gabriella to hear, which prompts her to reflect when there was just me and her, or me and Troy. Even though they've only known each other for technically a few weeks, they managed to perform at the callbacks and auditions. Despite Sharpay's attempts to diminish their chances, they win the state basketball championship, scholastic decathlon, and the leading roles all at once by working as a team because they're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
And then High School Musical 2 starts with the last day of school from the High School Musical 1 calendar year with the clock ticking down. And what time is it? Apparently it's time for everyone to get a job. Sharpay overhears this and gets Troy a job at her family's fabulous country club, Lava Springs. Troy convinces the club manager to hire the entire school, which makes the budget of Lava Springs higher than Amazon. The country club has a traditional talent show, and Kelsey convinces Gabriella, who convinces Troy, who convinces everyone. So the group finds the music in them. Sharpay is infuriated when she finds out, because we're all in this together was just a song and shouldn't be taken literally. She makes the country club manager make the student's job miserable enough to quit, in specific, Gabriella's. She then goes on to make Troy's life difficult by having him promoted, receive a higher salary, and setting up opportunities to receive a basketball scholarship from the U of A. This makes his fellow Wildcats angry. Gabriella is upset with the new Troy, and she decides she's got to go her own way. Sharpay convinces the club manager to restrict the staff from participating in the talent show. And does this make Troy angry? You can bet on it. Angry enough for him to walk out of the kitchen, into the golf course, through the desert, and back into the country club to tell Sharpay he's not going to participate in the talent show. Troy then apologizes to his friends. Kelsey teaches him an entire song to perform with him immediately. And then Gabriella miraculously appears to perform with Troy because this moment is all they really have. The final scene of the film does have Troy and Gabriella's first kiss. And then finally, to end the trilogy, High School Musical 3 opens up with the West High Knights losing by 21 to the East High. Then they decide with 16 minutes left, they remember how to play basketball. They end up winning the game. They go to an after party at Troy's parents' house, which is next level. His incredible treehouse. Troy and Gabriella decide they don't want to talk about the future, but just right here, right now. Sharpay convinces Ryan that she wants it all. And Ryan believes her. Even though she's shown him in 18 years, there's no evidence that she won't share anything. Gabriella meets with Troy at his hiding spot, which happens to be the rooftop. He then asks her to prom. He says he doesn't know how to dance, let alone been to a school dance. As the most popular student athlete in high school, he's never been to a dance. Gabriella asks him, can she have this dance? Because it'll be a night to remember. Ms. Darbus is shocked to find out that everyone has signed up for the final school musical, which Kelsey forged so it wouldn't be the Sharpay show. Kelsey then convinces Gabriella, who convinces Troy, who convinces everyone else that it'll be fun. Ms. Darbus announces that Juilliard is coming to their school musical to look at 4 recipients, one of which is Troy, which Troy says he's never heard of Juilliard. Gabriella, who just convinced everyone to be in the final musical, will not be able to make the musical because she's accepted into the Stanford Honors Program. She decides to walk away. Troy is miserable doing the musical with Sharpay, and then his dad finds out about Juilliard. Then he does what every teenager does when he's angry. He drives up to the school, goes to his locker, changes only his shirt, proceeds to walk around campus so he could scream.
Nice.
Troy finds out that Miss Darbus sent a letter of application to Juilliard because she saw talent in him. He follows that up by driving 16 hours and 4 minutes to Stanford to see Gabriella because she's gonna miss the prom. He then misses the first act of the musical, ends up making it by the second act with Gabriella, and then they sing to finish the show. They announce during their musical their future, to which Troy announces he's declining the U of A scholarship to attend UC Berkeley to pursue basketball and theater. The film ends with Troy giving a commencement speech to his peers, and they do one final number titled High School Musical. That's a lot to unpack.
Dang, but you killed it. That was great. That was great with the song titles in there. So good.
Thank you. So the first question I wanted to ask, as someone who is, obviously a drama major and into musicals, if you were in a drama club in high school and the jock and the freaky genius girl just kind of hesitantly audition and they take the leading roles, how would people in the drama club actually feel?
I think this actually does sort of accurately represent that. If I was Sharpay and if I really did spend every waking moment of my life like living and breathing drama, and these people who I thought were so random and never spent any time in what I thought was my space, like my safe space, this is her reality, right? If they really came into what I thought was like my theater or whatever, I would feel taken aback, truly.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't go to the extent that she did and like try to sabotage them. It would be a blow to my ego for sure. I think that's an accurate representation, and it's dramatized, obviously,
Sure.
but I definitely I'd be taken aback, I think. And I think anyone in drama who is a little bit like that, who is a little bit of a Sharpay or like a little bit of a Ryan, would definitely feel that way too, honestly.
Is Sharpay the real villain of the series? That's a question I see on the internet a lot. For what we are talking about, is she really the villain of the series?
I don't like the word villain. Like when we say, like, let's say, like, villainizing is not what I think that is. I would say she's an antagonist for sure. Like, I think she gets in the way. She does things to sabotage them explicitly. It's very obvious that she like wants to get in the way of their relationship. So like, she's an antagonist for sure. I don't think she's a villain. Like, she just wants to do things that are right for her own mindset. Like, she just wants to be a star. And can you blame her? She's like 16 and she just like wants to be on Broadway. You know what I mean? Like, at her age, and for her just like being a privileged white girl, unfortunately, that's really all that she knows. She's just this rich. Yeah, and she's just this rich, young white chick who doesn't know how to do anything else. I don't think she's a villain. I think in college, she probably will have had a really rude awakening anyway. And some drama professor she had in college probably will have told her like, hey, you're actually not as talented as you think. So I think—
Do they say stuff like that?
I mean, honestly, drama professors in college are harsh, man. Like, Miss Darbus is nothing compared to some of the things that you have to endure in drama programs in college. So, but yeah, I think Sharpay is not necessarily a villain, but she's an antagonist for sure. But I don't think we have to villainize her in that way. You know what I mean?
I actually think the first and third movie, what she does completely makes sense. The second movie where she's stepping a line of someone's boyfriend by, introducing her parents and all that stuff, that's crossing a different line.
I agree. Yeah. I think her behavior in the second movie is honestly unacceptable. I get furious watching the second movie. It's a different behavior. Like, come on, girl.
So I'm a little older than you. When the second movie came out, did it live up to the expectation from the hype of the first movie?
That's a great question. I'm gonna say yes. I remember just feeling so excited and like it. I think these movies always exceed the previous expectations, no matter what, to the young mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
You're just always so excited to see whatever is coming next, at least to like my young self and like to my friend group. I mean, like, we don't know what a bad movie is at that
sure.
age. So, like, expectations are always going to be exceeded.
So the second movie premiere is still to this day the highest opening weekend viewer for a Disney Channel original movie at
No
17
way.
million. Yeah. And also, What Time Is It? The first song on the soundtrack was the highest selling single of 2007.
No
Yeah.
way.
So to say it was a success is an understatement. Yeah, well, I was actually reading. I had to look at multiple sources to just make sure what I was reading was correct because I did not know it was that successful. I knew it was
That's
popular,
crazy.
but yeah, I don't. Yeah, because like CDs don't sell no more, and I think it went 5 times platinum,
Mm,
right? So it's different because now it's streaming numbers and all this stuff. But yeah, it was the first three movies all did really well. They upped the budget each time with I think 5 million, 7 million, and 11 million respectively. And the third movie went to the theater. Oh, it's the only one that went to the theater, and it
right.
made like 252 million.
Wow.
So right, that's a huge success. Now the other thing is watching all of them back to back to back is probably the only reason I like thought of this. I'm confused if Troy actually likes singing or musicals because he hesitates every time. And at first I was like, oh, maybe he's shy, stage fright, and all this, right? But every time Gabriella is not in the equation, he doesn't want to do it.
Right,
So I
right.
couldn't tell if he was just a guy wanting to be around a girl or if he really wanted to do musicals. And then that's also why I asked the Sharpay question, because that would make a lot of people angry if that's the only intention of coming in. Because
Right,
yeah, he didn't want to sing karaoke or audition or the talent show or the musical. And then
right.
he even misses half of the actual musical in the last movie because of it. So it's if someone gave that level of effort, I'm sure the rest of the drama club would be pretty angry at
Mm-hmm.
that because he's technically the lead. He's the lead. I
Right.
think he has the most solo songs technically in the whole franchise too. So Troy is obviously the main character of this series.
Yeah.
And I asked you this earlier. How do you feel about in the first movie not using Zac Efron's vocals for Troy? Do you think that diminishes anything? Because it's not like they stuck with it consistently. Then they went to Zach's vocals in the second and third movie.
That's just so, it's just so strange to me. And it just makes me think that there obviously is just a quality about Zac Efron that is so irreplaceable that just made them think like, well, then it has to be him. And
Yeah,
if he doesn't sing, obviously we don't care, right? So
yeah.
that's the logic behind that. So then did they just figure out by the second one that he can sing? Like, that's also my question, is that they were like, he's good now. Like, no, we're okay. So like, I don't know. I'm still sort of confused on this as well. And like, my thoughts about it are just that like maybe they just like Drew Seeley's voice better for the first one. Like maybe it was like a blending thing with Vanessa Hudgens. Like, I don't know. There could honestly be a lot of different reasons for it, like contractual things. I'm honestly not sure. I don't know.
I mean, this is obviously conspiracy theory, and
Yeah,
so I watched the audition tapes reviewing for this, and Zach and Vanessa are really good in the audition tapes together, and that had to have played a part in that.
for
I'm
sure.
not entirely sure, and I'm sure your brother, you, and to be honest, even with me too, collaborating, I've gotten a few vocals back where I didn't know how to tell someone like this isn't it, and I wish I bet you somewhere there are Zac Efron vocals from the first soundtrack that they haven't released, and it must not be good. It must not be
Mm-hmm.
good. As the only thing, and then maybe they just made the songs fit him more for second and third movie.
Right.
And then the first movie must have had the script and the songs ready before they casted. So I'm assuming that's what happened. And so I don't think they'll ever, because they never talk about it, but I'm assuming that's how it happened. And
yeah, that's a great theory. Yeah.
I'm glad it went that way, because it really bothers me when his voice doesn't match. I don't know why. I know they're lip syncing, but it still bothers me to this day.
Me too. And have you noticed something that gets on my nerves when I watch the second one as well, is that there is definitely like some weird auto-tune or like a vocal double for Vanessa Hudgens as well, especially in and You Are the Music in Me. It's just so obvious. Like they really did not try at all. That's one thing that gets on my nerves in the second movie. It's really not in the first. I don't notice it as much in the first or in the third one.
Yeah.
But for some reason in that second one, it's just so much, man. It's so much.
Is there anything about the cast you would change, or do you love the cast the way it was, the original cast?
Oh man, I love that cast so much. I just dude, the way I feel about this franchise is it's so crazy, dude. When I was watching these three movies back to back, I would not change a single thing. Vanessa Hudgens as Gabriella, like the way I idolize that character as a young girl is like an experience I can't even describe. I just remember when I found out that Vanessa Hudgens was Filipino, I was like, this is insane. That really was the first time that I just saw a Filipino girl like being the love interest and like getting a white boy. And I was like, that's amazing. It just.
Did you find out after you already watched the movie?
Yeah. I mean, she's just like she just looked like a white girl. And I mean, like, that character I think is supposed to be like Hispanic.
Yeah.
Montez, right?
Yeah.
So.
And they speak Spanish a little bit in the third one.
Right, yeah. And her mom calls her like Mija,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So did you find out before the second movie that she was Filipino?
I don't exactly remember, but I think it was something like that. Yeah, I think I found out before the second one.
No, yeah, I Googled her after the first movie, and I was shocked. I was shocked. And that was unbelievable to see. I don't know how this works for films, but I think they made the last names after they casted, because Ashley Tisdale auditioned for Gabriella.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah. So, because there's no way her and her agent would be like, yeah, I can play Gabriella Montez.
Yeah, there's no way that they would let that happen. There's no way.
So I'm assuming they did that.
Right, yeah.
And then your brother talked about this. He, about 2 months ago, it was on Twitter, and he said, man, the way Troy treats his friends in Gabriella in the second movie is trash. In the second movie, Troy and Gabriella have known each other for about 6 months.
Shoot.
Should Gabriella have broken up with him after all that's happened?
Man, when you put it like that, when you put it in the span of the 6 months thing, that really puts it into perspective. 6 months, really, when you look at it, it's not a long time. But when you think about how they started, like the chances of them meeting and like going to the same school, like, oh man, and like knowing the both of them just like being huge romantics, I know as if I like freaking know them. What?
No, but it does feel like you know the characters, like, as you watch it, right? The one part I was confused about in the second movie is that Troy never apologized to Gabriella before she showed up to the talent show. Like,
man!
So I don't know how that process, like what they were thinking in terms of script writing for that. Obviously, I don't think anyone was stunned that Gabriella shows up. Right. It was just odd that he apologizes to his friends, has a big talk with Sharpay in the green room where he says, I keep my word, I promise to sing with you. No, not a word to Gabriella. And then Gabriella shows up and sings.
Wow. Yeah, what was happening in that writer's room during that point? What were they thinking, man? Man, when you put it that way, because my instinctual answer to this is like, nah, it didn't need to be a complete cutoff. I think he really did need to be put in his place, though. I think
Yeah.
he needed to have a good scare for her to be like, well, if you're going to act this way, like, I'm peacing out.
Yeah.
And then he needed to be like, oh, it's going to
Yeah.
be like that. Okay, let me get my act together for a second.
Right. Right.
But I think I'm going to go with my gut on this one. And I'm going to say, I think the way it happened was okay. And that he just needed to have a really good moment with himself and a good, like, self-actualization, realization when he had bet on it, that he was like, okay, let me get it together, let me apologize to my friends. But you have a good point with, like, the him not apologizing to Gabriella. That's my only, like, gripe with that situation, is that he needed to have a better, like, gotta go my own way. His whole little bit, the small duet that they had, that was not enough. He needed to have a better apology to her, and that would have been okay. But I think she didn't have to leave him completely.
So I watched the first three films, and I was older, so it didn't affect me the way it affects, let's say, 12 to like 17-year-olds, right? And if you're watching the third film, and I see this a lot in media, the way they portray how kids pick colleges, and granted, the way they wrote it, sure, going to UC Berkeley seems like a better idea than U of A, right? Right, sure, that seems like a better idea. So I'm sure they can dodge a bullet with that, right? But if it was reverse and U of A was closer to the school that Gabriella was going, because for a while Gabriella was telling Taylor that she's thinking of staying another year in Albuquerque, and she was like, "What do you mean? You can't hold off Stanford for, a boy, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel about that process? Do you think, I mean, I don't know how your process was of picking UCI, but like, do you think boyfriend, girlfriend should play a part in picking your college? Because he does mention it. He says I don't remember the exact miles, and I should have wrote it down, away from Stanford. He mentioned that in
He
the
does.
music.
He says it's like
Yes.
34 point
Yeah.
something.
So clearly it mattered that it was close, more than basketball and theater at Berkeley.
Dude, unless you're absolutely freaking sure, unless you're absolutely damn 100% sure that that's going to be your partner, it better not, man. And even then, I would say don't let it, you know. Subconsciously, I think it's always going to be part of your decision, even if you try so hard to not let it influence where you're going to be. But I think it shouldn't at the end of the day.
I used to play ball all the time when I was in college, and I see the same people every day. And I actually don't even remember this guy's name, but I used to see him all the time. And then I asked him where he was from, and he said he was from Newport, OC. And I was like, "Why'd you pick UW?" Right? I went to University of Washington, and and he said the girl he was dating in high school decided to go to UW, so he picked it. And the summer before he got there, they broke up. Yeah,
No.
so he
Oh my
came up by
God.
himself. Now, granted, he wanted to be an engineer, and it's a good engineering school, so it
Okay.
worked out. But man, is that a risky choice?
That's an
To
awful,
right.
awful thing.
Let's talk about our favorite moments of the series, of any of the movies. What's your favorite moments or favorite scenes that you have?
Um, Dude, that after party, that after party in the third movie is crazy. Like, that backyard is huge.
Right. Yeah, that house and that tree house and that party. They have a DJ, that backyard. It's incredible. Even Gabriella's home is nice too.
Yeah, and Gabriella's room, that balcony that she has is like crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's
Unbelievable.
unbelievable, truly. Yeah.
So my favorite scene in the first movie and the third movie changed a little bit while reviewing it. At first, it was I love the breaking free and the "Can I Have This Dance" uh,
Mm-hmm.
scene, but for the same reason in the first one and second one, the "We're All in This Together" number and the "Night to Remember" in the third, the way they
Oh,
filmed it and the
the
choreography
choreography and
is
the prom. Oh, wow.
unbelievable.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I when I was watching the third movie, especially again, and the second movie too, I was like, wow, I didn't appreciate how well this was put together when I watched it, like at all. And Kenny Ortega obviously is a legend, but
Yeah.
man, it is incredible. And you did drama in high school.
Yes.
How unrealistic is this budget at East
In
High?
literally, like astronomically unrealistic. First of all, the
Yeah.
auditorium in that high school is nicer than half of the regional theaters I've seen in Southern California. The budget that this school has is probably near $1 million. Like, and the cafeteria, I mean, I know everyone on the internet talks about like how nice the cafeteria at this school is. I mean, and it's a real school, so like everyone talks about it. It's just like, I mean, that school in general is so nice. So, but I mean, like, it just, the budget that they have at that school is insane. So that is so unrealistic. I have never seen a high school. I never, not once in my life, not even a regional theater, no professional theater. Not even
Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah.
No,
It
just kidding.
might be the most unrealistic part of the entire
Yeah,
trilogy. Yeah.
that a
No.
high school could be
Yeah.
that nice,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. Do you have least favorite scenes of the three movies?
Just anytime Sharpay does anything in the second movie, like just anytime she does anything in the second movie, it just like makes me so upset. But just what a testament to Ashley Tisdale in that movie. She just does such a good job at making you
I can't believe how
mad.
good she is at playing the antagonist.
Dude, seriously, she is, and she got those spin-off movies too. I never watched any of those, but like good for her, honestly.
Yeah.
Like she did a great job with that character,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. So personally, I hate the basketball scenes. I I I wish they picked a different sport because Zac Efron can't play basketball. And I'm not even talking about like the practical stuff. Like in the first scene when they're walking down the hall together, Troy and Gabriella, there's like three girls taller than Zach. And sure, you could be a short basketball player, but then like he is not that he's bad at basketball. It's just the scenes are too long of him being bad at basketball in the first, second, and third movie. And it's just, oh God, it was hard for me to watch it the first time. And then during this time, I was like, yeah, I don't feel any different about it. How do you feel about the bet on it part in the second movie? How do you feel about the scene? Did you love it
You
as a
know
kid? You
what?
loved it, right?
Yes, you know what? This is so hard. I know that this is one of the cringiest numbers in the entire franchise, but I just have to give it to Zac Efron. I just think he is so good at making whatever he is in good, because I know that like subjectively what he is doing is like cringy and like not good, but he makes it look so good. Like I forget that what he is doing is so Disney
Yep.
because he like makes it real, and I just think that he is so good. So for that, like I love that number, and I especially love Scream in the third movie because he is just so good in that. Like I just think he is so freaking good. So
You know, it
yeah,
took
I love Bet on It.
it took 6 days to film Bet on It.
Are you to film Bet on It?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
For what?
I'm not sure. I was gonna ask, what do you think took long? Do you think he was messing up, or do you think they were trying to hit a certain like sunlight every day or something? Like, I'm not sure. Like, I can't tell if he was messing up or if they just only wanted certain lighting.
It must have been the lighting.
Yeah, it's the only
Lighting,
thing I could
right?
think of. It's the only thing I could think of. Like, it's closer to sunset or something.
Yeah,
And they just wanted to
daylight.
do that every day, kind of thing.
That's insane. I can't imagine having to do that number for 6 days.
A feel good part that they don't really mention. I do love that from the first movie to the third movie that Martha goes from the genius to a cheerleader in the third movie, and
Mm.
she's I don't know the actress's real name, but she's such a great dancer. She's
Oh,
so
she's
good,
so gifted. She is so gifted.
incredible.
Yes, I love her. Yeah, she's so underrated as well. She really is one of the best dancers in the entire franchise. Her and Corbin Blue really go unnoticed in, and he has some really good moments, especially in the third one. Like his dancing really comes out in the second and the third one. But I think those two Corbin Bleu and the girl who plays Kelsey. Or no, not
Yes.
Kelsey. What is her name?
Um.
Corbin Bleu and Martha. Yeah, they
Yeah. Yeah.
are
Martha.
two of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
best dancers. Two of
Yeah.
the best dancers in the franchise for
Yeah.
sure.
So one more. Other than basketball, the one other thing I did want to mention that I absolutely hate is the character of Rocket Man.
Hilarious.
Like I don't know if it's because I was just older watching it. I have this theory that obviously you don't want to cut the cash cow, but they were done. Zach, Vanessa, they're all done with this, movies. And I think they wanted spin-offs, but I think the reception to I don't remember the British girl who's Ashley Tisdale's assistant in the third movie and
Right.
Rocket Man, all that. I don't think the reception was good enough to make a spin-off anything. But I think if it were, they would have. I really do. I think Disney would have. Because, I mean, all the money they were putting in. And we only mentioned, like, how much money they made from films. We're not talking, we got soundtrack, we got concert and touring, merchandising. They were making a ton of money off of High School Musical. And I'm sure they would have loved to keep it going. And I don't think there were any characters there. And the girl who plays Taylor, she was like 26 when they played the first movie.
Woo!
Yeah, so it was not going to happen with any of the other sub characters, other than Ashley, who got her own standalone spin-off movie.
Right.
But so yeah, I did not like that character at all. And one other story. Who'd you watch High School Musical 3 with in the theater?
I think if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I watched it with AJ and my sister.
So when that movie came out, I must have been early 20s, maybe 22, 21. And my wife, who I was dating at the time, didn't watch any of the High School Musicals, and I didn't have time to catch up by opening night. So I have a friend who also loves High School Musical. So we go to the theater and purchase High School Musical 3, and we're going and we're noticing it's all little girls. And he starts walking into another theater. I don't know why, like, I guess someone was watching, and I was like, what's he doing? And the theater worker, I swear to God, turns and goes, "Sir, High School Musical is over there." In front of everyone. And I was like,
that's so good.
I was like, let's just go in. Come on, man. If I think about the soundtrack, because like the first movie has some, because it's the first movie, but I think the third movie, in terms of music alone, I was actually shocked at how good it is when I reheard it again. It's unbelievable.
Oh, me too. And I will always stand by that is the best soundtrack in the franchise.
Yeah. I actually, when I was going to rank it later on, it wasn't that high. And then I reheard it and I was like, wow, this is
And you were
great.
like, wait a damn minute.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah.
And then, do you have a least favorite song of the 3 movies?
You know what? No. I don't think I have a least favorite song.
I don't know how to pronounce my least favorite song. It's in the second movie.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's called Huma Huma Nuka Nuka Apawa'a.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and that I think was in a deleted scene, which
It
I think,
was.
Yeah.
And now when you watch it on Disney Plus, it's just part of the movie. Yeah.
Which,
Interesting.
when I watched it, I was like, I realized why they cut it.
Yeah, you're like, this is literally unnecessary.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I think also Status Quo. Not that I love Status Quo. I think that was a powerful song. I really do.
Yeah.
And it's the classic "Don't Put Me in a Box" song, right? And then a lot of kids, especially when you're good at something, they don't want you to do anything else.